There's our other watermelon. That one is a surprise. He was hiding. I didn't know he was there. And then you follow the trail. We got another little baby watermelon from this plant. So I think I caught the mites in time. I hope I caught the mites in time. Don't be discouraged by pest pressure. Just do what you can. I sprayed these down with diluted dish soap and DE, diatomaceous earth. See the white powder? That's the diatomaceous earth. See all the ants crawling around? I need to dust it again. The diatomaceous earth takes care of the ants, and the ants are farming these damn mites. See all these little spots? Those are mites. Now I've got ants all over me. But this is our watermelon. This is our hot banana pepper. We pulled a bunch of them off. I'll show you those when I go back inside. My watermelon plant is taking over. And then this is a sweet banana pepper. And I don't know what this is. This is Johnny's experiment of I need peppers. I promise I'll eat them. We'll see. So then we pulled all of this out. This was the tomato jungle. So I'm going to I have seeds started. I'm going to over here put my peas. I have 2 different kinds of peas that I'm going to be putting in the ground. And I'm going to plant them up to about here. So I'll have peas and peppers. And then down here, I'll be putting in my green beans. And I've got 2 different kinds of beans. I've got pole beans and I've got bush beans. So I'll be putting those in the next week or so. We're treating and feeding the soil so that they have a better shot at actually growing. And we're not putting more tomatoes over here because here's the first bed that Johnny made. And look at that. It caught up to the tomato jungle. I'm only 5'3". These have grown well past. I'm going to make a guess and say that they're probably easily 8 feet tall. I mean, they are in a raised bed. Raised beds are the way to go, guys. Especially out here in Southern California. It is stupid hot. It is 107 degrees right now. That's why you are not seeing me, because I am beet red in the face. And I'm sweating like a whore in church. So we've got these up to try to keep the dog and the cat out. They don't actually bother the beds too much now. I think they're used to it. They've been sprayed with the hose a couple of times. So they're like, oh yeah, I'm not going to go in there. And then this side, I've got regular tomatoes. Okay, so the first bed that we planted was beefsteak tomatoes. Those are done. That's all gone. Pulled it all out. These are just regular. I don't even remember the name of the tomatoes. But this side got eaten up by tomato hornworms. These are my chocolate cherry tomatoes. Look at how pretty that is. Oh my gosh, and they taste so good. I am so saving seeds for these. So saving the seeds because they are absolutely delicious. They're kind of sweet, but they're not so sweet that they're like candy. And then we have a regular cherry tomato bush back here, and you see pest pressure has just, the tomato hornworms have just had a field day in here, and it's very disheartening, but you just have to keep on top of it. I'm not afraid of heavy pruning. You see, I just pull them off. You see how I have stalks instead of the tomato jungle that Johnny really wants. And what I'm doing is I'm using yarn. See my I'm training them to grow up through the cattle panel into the arch so that you can get airflow in there, because that's what you need. You need airflow. If you want them to grow like this, you've got to trim them back. You've got to pull the suckers. That was a sucker. You've got to pull the suckers off. You've got to give them air. It has to be open so that they can actually get air in here. Like that needs to come off. That's a sucker. And I would normally not butcher it like that. I would come out here with my scissors and snip them. See, that's a sucker. That's got to come off. That is stealing all of the energy from your plant. So I mean, that's how I get them to grow. And Johnny built these. This is the first bed. And we just had the one cattle panel right here across the top. And then after about a month of using my yarn to wind it around the main stem of the plant to support it, they started growing up through it. And I was like, oh, okay. So I asked him to make me an arch that goes all the way up over, so that as they grow, I can tie them up, give them more support, and see how I wind it around the stem and all the way up to the top. And it will start to follow it. It'll go all the way up to the top, as you see from the other side of the bed. So this is just the first bed that he built. And it's a monster. It's a monster. It is huge. So then if I turn around, like directly turn around, there's the second bed. And I wasn't gonna show you guys, but you need to see, if you're gonna start growing things, you're gonna have to expect failure. Now, it's not a failure. I'm growing spaghetti squash and butternut squash. This is from one plant. And then I've got Johnny's grape. His grapevines are loving this bed, loving it. But my blueberry bush, it's barely hanging on, barely hanging on. So we're gonna pull this out and put it in its own pot. I think the soil is just not acidic enough, and I don't want to treat the soil in this bed and make it acidic, because right on the other side of that cattle panel is my butternut squash plant. And you see him doing the trellis thing, training it to grow up. Now, spaghetti squash, not pest pressure. These mites are eating my plants. Mites and ants go hand in hand. It's really bad. I showed you on the watermelon plant. Well, they've really done a number on, this is a spaghetti squash that I've got one lowly little baby spaghetti squash, and these mites are eating all of my flowers. They're just decimated. So I'm trying. I haven't given up. Don't give up, because I've got lots of decent growth up here. I just sprayed everything down with diluted dish soap. That's the trick for the mites. And this is what we pulled out of the garden this morning. We thought it was going to rain. It's threatening, but it hasn't. We had some thunder, which in Southern California we don't get to hear that very often. And there's the other vine. If you have the space to trellis vining plants, do it. Look at this. This is one plant. This is just one butternut plant. Look at all these butternut squash. I am a happy, happy girl. And I think they're just about ready. I think they're about ready. So you see all of the dead leaves. We've had 120-degree heat. Like I said, it's 107 right now. It's 107 degrees. I'm sweating, y'all. I'm dying. That's why you ain't seeing me. You are not going to see me because right now I am a hot, tore up mess. But look at that. And these are heavy. So these cattle panels, yeah, they're a little expensive, especially out here. Now, I have some friends that use cattle panels. My friend Jess at Roots and Refuge, she uses the cattle panels. That's where I got the idea from. And where she is in Arkansas, I know, but we like to say Arkansas. She's out in Arkansas, and they're not as expensive there as they are here. So yeah, the mites have completely, look at that. Those are mites, and they will eat. And there's the ants that are harvesting them. I just sprayed all of these leaves down. Now they're wilty and droopy because it's 107 degrees. It is hot. I am literally drenched in sweat right now. But I wanted to show you guys so that you could see. This is my pumpkin, and I could not understand why is my pumpkin not growing. It is being eaten from the inside by mites. Those are mites. They will eat everything. So I've sprayed them all down. I've got one little green pepper. Well, it's actually 2 green peppers. He's a little wilty, but he's hanging in there. And there's our little shed. That's where Johnny keeps all his tools. And my failed raised bed. I built this raised bed 9 years ago. So we've got corn that's coming up. Yes, I know it needs to be weeded. This plant, this is red potatoes. I'm gonna have red potatoes. I'm doing a little experiment like my friend Jamarelle. She's doing an experiment with potatoes, and I'm doing an experiment with potatoes. So this is my sunflower. All the birds got all my seeds. They eated it, but that's okay. I've got more that are coming up. I have seeds that are started. This is the monster bed that Johnny built. I told him I needed a bed for my herbs. Yeah, this is too big for herbs. So I think I might be planting corn down the center, and maybe I'll put some zinnias. I'm going to put sunflowers in the corners because it's a monster bed. It's huge. It's ridiculous. But I don't know what else to put in here. I'm growing seeds. I started seeds last week that are already germinated. I'll show you those. And then this is my morning glories that broke they broke the trellis. See how droopy they are? It is so hot, y'all. Oh my God. It is so hot. And this is our blackberries. We're trying to train them. We still have some canes that we need to unweave from the cattle panel and get them up. My thinking is we're going to have the blackberry grow up and over and create like a curtain so that this doesn't happen more. It's the sun. The sun at 120 degree heat, it just decimates. The heat bounces off this brick wall and just cooks everything. So, and this is my little peach tree. We thought she was dead. I'm calling her Donna. If you watch that 70s show, you know what that means. And the blackberries are Jackie and Kitty. So that's that section. That's going to be really nice. This is what's left of the tomato jungle. So I'm going to try to repurpose all of the yarn that we used to try to get them to grow. But pest pressure totally decimated all of those plants, and they were pretty close to the end of their life anyways. I got 65 pounds of tomatoes out of 3 plants. So I'm going to call that a win. This is my Beers seedless limes. This is a hybrid. Oh, and a volunteer. I'm going to let him grow. He's growing very happily there. That's a volunteer. I did not plant that in with my hybrid lemon lime. And then I've got this little lime tree. It's a Myers lime. It's not doing great. Like I said, it's 107 degrees today. Well, last I checked it was 107. So my banana plant. I bought 2 banana plants. This one is doing well. That one, not so much. And Johnny saw how sad I was, so he went and bought. Okay, I'm gonna try to finish this video. Oh, that's our little solar fountain that ended up running dry and we killed it. But I'm trying. So, my phone died. Because, remember I was saying it was 107 degrees. I had to go inside. My phone died. Because I'm shooting this on my phone because this is my first video ever. So be nice. You don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, right? So I left off, I believe, on my poor little pumpkin plant that has been just eaten alive by mites. But my phone died, so I had to go inside. And I was literally just drenched in sweat, y'all. So I just went and took a shower. And in the time that it took me to go in and take a shower and talk to Johnny before he went to sleep, because he works nights, it poured. It just came down. The skies opened up and it just drenched everything. And just as fast as it started, I went inside, just took a shower real quick. So came out here and it was just coming down. So I went inside and I waited for it to finish. I don't know if it's going to rain some more. I know some of you are going to ask me. I got the idea of these sticky traps from my friend Dan over at Deep South Homestead. He uses these in his garden and in his high tunnels. That's next on our list. I want a high tunnel, but obviously I don't have room here. So that's in the 4-year plan when we sell this house and move to a bigger place where I can actually have a greenhouse and all of the things. Yet you see all the ants? The ants are just, oh, I hate these buggers. This is my little green pepper plant. I'm hoping. And this is a Calabacita squash. I have never in my whole life, I grew up in Massachusetts, up in the Northeast, so I never saw this before. And I figured, okay, I'm just gonna grow it. I'm gonna see. I pulled one off already and it was too early. It wasn't horrible, but it was obviously not ready. So yeah, this, I don't believe this is pest pressure. I think this is from the 3 or 4 days in a row that we had 120-degree heat. It's so hot here, guys. It is so hot. It makes it really hard. And my poor little dill that I let go to bolt. So I'm letting this dry so that I have dill seeds. Seeds are getting hard to find, so I'm saving seeds from everything that I'm growing. Here's my other little dill. My little dill plant. I let it go to bolt so that I can keep my seeds. And my little, I don't know. The birds have pretty much eaten all of my seeds, and you know what? I'm fine with that. That's just fine. I have more sunflowers coming up. Some little sunflowers. And then I've got some corn that's coming up. I do have seeds that I started. And then this is red potatoes. I've got some potatoes that I'm experimenting with. My friend Jamarelle, who is in, I believe she's in Indiana or Illinois, perhaps. She's growing potatoes also. My little peach plant, peach tree. My morning glories, that for you, those of you that were following along on my Facebook, you saw pictures of the morning glories that took down the trellis. They broke it. So I asked Johnny if he could build a new structure for it to support it, and this is what he came up with, and it's more than I asked for, and I am more than happy. This is our blackberry, one of our blackberries. I'm trying to train it to grow up. Isn't that great? I'm so lucky that I have a man that will just tries to keep me happy. I'm hard to keep happy, apparently. I just want all the things. I want the things, and I want what I want. Blackberry plant. We did get some blackberries off of these two plants, which I was surprised because we just planted these in, oh gosh, what was it? March, I believe. And here's the monster bed. I asked Johnny to build me a bed for my herbs. Oh, honey. It's about 10 feet long. And I believe it's like 4.5 feet wide. I don't know. I haven't measured it. But we used leftover lumber. Lumber's getting hard to find, y'all. I don't know. I'm not even going to get into that. But we used the corrugated tin that we used when we rebuilt the patio that my friend Mary so kindly donated to us. Just told us, come and get it. Come and get it. You can take it. So, Mary, this is where your metal sheeting ended up, and on top of our wood pile. We still have some left, and I feel like I might be getting some new beds. We're gonna put, I think I'm gonna put turnips and rutabagas. I have a friend of mine, Michael, is sending me seeds. Thank you so much. So he's sending me seeds. I'm gonna get those started, and I'm gonna get them planted in this bed. I'm gonna put sunflowers in each corner. It may be too late. I think we're in zone 9B, and I believe our first frost date is right before my birthday, right before the end of October. So I'm gonna put, I think I'm gonna put corn down the middle. I've already got seeds started. I need more dirt, always more dirt. So I'm gonna put corn down the center, and I'm gonna put sunflowers in the corners, because I've already got those seeds started and they've already sprouted. I'm going to show you, don't worry. And then I think I'm gonna put onions and rutabagas, like most of my root crops. I think I'm gonna put those in here, because this area gets so much sun. I mean, look at my poor sad little morning glories. I mean, they're feeling better now that we've got that downpour. I don't know if it's gonna rain some more. It looks like it wants to. It looks like it wants to. And I'm gonna welcome it, because my water bill, y'all, my water bill. This is what's left of the tomato jungle. There's the tomato jungle. I'm gonna try to recycle the yarn that I used to try to save those beefsteak tomatoes. but we had so much pest pressure with that first bed of tomatoes, and I got about 65 pounds of tomatoes out of those 3 tomato plants. 3 tomato plants, 65 pounds of tomatoes, y'all. So, yeah. So, those are the beds. Got my poor roses. They're dry and sad. Those are potatoes, or they're supposed to be. And this is the end of the second bed. We got our little grapevines. Just training them. See all of these ants. These ants are just, oh my gosh, they're so frustrating. It's so frustrating to see these ants just, ugh. And my poor little flowers. They're trying to come back. They just get too much sun. Here in Southern California, I've had a couple of friends on their YouTube's channels say that if you have plants in Southern California that say that they require full sun, don't do it. It's too hot here. My lemon balm, I did cut it back because I'm trying to grow more, trying to get it to root. And these are 4 o'clocks. I don't know the genus name of them, the species name. I just know that they're called 4 o'clocks because around between 3 and 6 p.m. they will open up. So at some point I will try to catch that for you guys. And then my roses, these are red roses that I've had some problems with cutter bees. Just look at that. These cutter bees are big, black, fuzzy bees. And I was excited because I was like, oh, we need pollinators so badly. And then my jasmine is struggling because my jasmine says that it requires full sun. Well, full sun here in Southern California means 10 hours of full surface of the sun hot heat. So these are my rose bushes. We've got a pineapple plant that Johnny is trying to get it to grow. They seem to do better. Okay, if you're going to do pineapple, you're going to cut the top off, because I do that. I'm going to start a new bed of just my my kitchen scraps that I'm trying to grow into seeds or fruit. There's a pineapple. There's a pineapple. That's the first pineapple. So we were trying to get them to grow in the second bed. They don't do as well. I mean, this is the first one, but I water the devil out of it. And then come over here, and this is like the second one that we planted, and it seems to be trying. So I don't know. We'll see. It's an experiment. Everything's an experiment. And my Roma tomatoes. I think this is a month. When we got this plant, it was just an itty bitty little starter plant that we got at Home Depot. So it's getting there. And oh, my cherry tomatoes, black. These, I love these so much. It's not ready, but isn't that pretty? And they taste so good. I'm gonna eat that. So that's where we're at right now. Now y'all remember what this bed looked like yesterday? So I've got seeds that I started 3 days ago. And this is my flower bed. my butterfly bush, my bee balm that it was planted up in here, and I pulled them all out and put them down underneath. And then put all of these asters in just because I needed something pretty. So this is our lovely mess, but I started these 3 days ago. This is 3 days. But it was also 120 degrees. So the majority of these are my flowers, my sunflowers. They're starting to come up. And my corn that's going to go in the monster bed. I think we're just going to call that the monster bed. I got some nasturtiums that I planted that I'm going to try to get interspersed in the beds, and the zinnias. I'm only planting these because I feel like I need some color. I need some flowers. And I've got moonflowers, and I've got some Spanish flag and bachelor's buttons, because these you can use for medicinal purposes also. I'm not going to get into that. You guys can research that on your own. And my morning glories, I'm starting more morning glories because we have a couple of spots up in the front of the house that I had Johnny build arches, and the morning glories do okay up there. So I'm going to try to grow cucumbers. I mean, the last round of cucumbers did not do good at all. Not at all. And here's my peas and my green beans. Like I said, I've got pole beans and I've got bush beans that I'm growing. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. And then I've got my little marvel peas that are starting to come up. And then I have snap peas that I'm gonna grow. So yeah, that's our little bit of crazy that we've got going on. So this is from my patio. This is what I come out to every morning. This is my little world. Oh, this is my new bed. I did have this basil planted in with the tomatoes. The first bed. That's bed 1. This is bed 2. And there's the monster bed. So I pulled the basil out of that bed and we bought this specifically for my herbs. So I've got these 3 basil and my purple basil I grew in that other bed, and then I've got these that I started. I just clip these down. Here, let me see if I can show you. Okay, you see where I'm going to pull that right there. Now I will pull all of these leaves off up to leaving only these top little pieces. And then I will stick the rest in water. So then once it sits in water for a couple of days, I end up with starters. These are all starters that I started by pinching off and using the leaves. See, it's got some pest damage, but it still tastes good. And then I've got all of these little starters that I'm using the straw to shield it from this ungodly heat. And then my purple basil, I have some plants on the kitchen counter that I'm trying to get started. And then I have my garlic that I did the same thing. I took some cloves of garlic out of a clove of garlic, broke it up, pulled the paper off the outside, stuck it in a cup of water. You see? and it starts growing roots, and when it starts growing roots, stick it in the ground. And this is all going to be lettuce. I planted a bunch of lettuce seed that I saved from lettuce that I let go to bolt. This one is not doing well. These are my kitchen scraps. I'm growing these from kitchen scraps. I have onions over here that, get out of here, that they're not growing. I'm going to leave them alone. I'm going to let them do what they're going to do. And then when I see plants on sale, I pick them up. This is salvia. It did have flowers on it, but I think it's getting too much sun, so I'm going to pull it back here and let it get some shade. I mean, it's pretty overcast now. Now it doesn't feel like it's 107 degrees, but I'm sweating and I just got out of the shower, so yeah, there's that. So I'm going to take this in the house now, and I am going to trim it back and try to get it to start growing roots. So this is my kitchen counter. Look at all of those seeds. These are tomato seeds from the beef steaks that the last 30 pounds that I processed into spaghetti sauce. Got tomatoes up here. Those are all ready to come off the counter and go into the fridge so that we can eat it. That's some sage that I am trying to get it to root. I bought that at the farmer's market. They were getting ready to close and they were going to throw everything away, so they gave it to me for $2. Big old pile. I've got a bunch on a tray that I'm drying out so that I can put them in my jars and use them for cooking. And this is my oregano that I'm trying to get that to set roots. It takes a little while. You have to be patient. Yep, they're not there yet. They will. You just have to be patient, and I change the water out every so often. This is my lemon balm that I'm trying to get that to set roots. I think the lemon balm is going to be ready to root here pretty quick. And here's some of my parsley that I'm trying to get that to root, and my basil. Oh, you see that? That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. So let's see if I can do this with one hand. I'm just going to pinch off, and I'm going to save these leaves because I don't want them sitting in the water, and I'm going to probably throw those into some pasta tonight. Yep, that's about it. Just stick it in the water. Let's have a look-see. What do we got? Focus. That's some pretty good root growth for just being in that cup of water for 3 days. I don't know that I have enough room to plant yet more basil. Oh, that one's really got some nice roots going. Wonderful. That makes me very happy. I like to see that you can grow food from your kitchen scraps, because that's what I did. These are my original plants. Just started producing enough basil that I could fill my jar, and I just started saving the little sprigs, and I've rooted them, and I just showed you all of the basil that I have growing out there. So I don't know, I might end up having to give these to somebody so that they can grow them, because do I really need like 84,000 plants of basil? Do I really? Do I really? So these are onion ends that I'm growing. I'm trying to get it to start their, yep, it's starting its roots. I may not get actual onions from these, but what I can get is seeds. And as you can see, I save my seeds. I ferment them. I throw them in a jar on the kitchen counter, and they sit there for a couple of days, and I rinse them off and put them through a strainer just to get rid of all the bits, and lay them out on a sheet pan to dry. Look at those. Okay, well, I don't know what else you would like to hear or see, so I'm going to go fill my coffee cup. This was a gift from a very good friend. Isn't that pretty? So I'm gonna fill my coffee cup, and maybe I'll go do some sewing today, so who knows. I'm all over the place, so do a little bit of everything. All right, well, I bless you and have a great day, and grow something. Stick it in the ground and just try to grow it.